So, following my previous video, instead of heading back to Maryland from Vegas, I decided to go the other way and visit my sibling in California. Spend some time seeing the Bay Area, get to see San Francisco, but also have time for some poker. We make our way to Oaks Card Club, a local hotspot, and trust me, there's a lot of action.
How's it going, guys? My name's Evan and welcome back to ESP Poker. In this video, we're playing at Oaks Card Club in Oakland, California. Now the game structure is a little different than normal. There's a 3-blind structure, so $1, $2, and $3 blinds, and there's also something called a winner's straddle. So after you win a hand, the very next hand, you have the option to straddle for $6. Now it was kind of optional, but certainly encouraged. I'd say the winner's straddle was on about half the time, and that's about as much as I was doing it as well for context. Now I also wanted to say sorry for the delay on making this video. Long story short, I took a little break from poker. I'll talk about that a little more at the end, but right now, let's get into the poker.
We buy in for the max of 500. First hand of note comes when we pick up Ace-Jack offsuit under the gun. There's a $6 straddle, and we bump it up to 20. End up getting a call from the small blind and the straddler, so going 3 ways to a flop. Comes out jack high, so pretty good for us, top pair, top kicker. Checks to me, I bet $25, and both players call. The turn comes a 6, which shouldn't change anything unless my opponent has exactly 5-7. This time the small blind decides to lead out for $55. The straddler didn't start this hand with that much, so he ends up going all in for less, about $30. And I think in this position, we have a straightforward call. I didn't really know at the start of the session, but as we went on, I found out that the small blind was a pretty active player, and he wasn't afraid to bluff. So we make the call here and go to a river that comes the 3 of hearts. Again, I don't think this changed much. The small blind checks it to me, and I decide to just check it back. I show my hand, and we're good. The small blind mucks, which makes me think he was just bluffing, and the straddler shows queen jack, so we have him out kicked. And as you'll see in the next hand, I get the luxury of putting on the winner's straddle, which basically means I get to donate $6 to the next pot when we pick up the premium 6-3 suited. I'd say this was a pretty common theme whenever I put on the winner's straddle. Next hand of note. I'm under the gun again and look down at pocket queens. There's the $6 straddle again. I bump it up to 20 and get calls from middle position and the button. So going 3 ways to a flop that comes king high. Being multi-way, I slow down and check it. Middle position bets 20. The button calls and I make the call as well. The turn comes another 8. I check it. This time middle position checks and the button decides to bet 50. Kind of weird how this hand's developing. I'm not really sure if I'm ahead or behind, so I like to take the passive route and let it go, and middle position folds as well. Let me know what you would have done here. On the button this time, we look down at aces. I make it 20 to go, and we get 2 calls from the big blind and middle position. Go to a flop 3 ways that comes pretty good for us. It comes ace high with 2 hearts. The big blind checks and middle position decides to bet 20. Now, I would love to slow play this, but if he has a flush draw, I just can't let him get there for cheap. So for that reason, I decide to bump it up to 65, but the big blind folds and so does middle position. Oh well, but I still think raising is the right move here. So, next hand of note, I have pocket 5s in middle position. There's a $6 straddle. One player makes the call, and I like to just call as well, and the straddler checks his option. So going 3 ways to a flop, that comes queen, queen, deuce. First player checks, and I think I could have the best hand here, so I like to bet 15. The straddler makes the call, and the other player folds. Going to a turn card that comes a jack. This time I slow down and check it, and he checks it back. Now going heads up to a river that comes a miracle 5 giving us a boat. I like to lead out for $20. And after I do this, he decides to raise it to 75. And here's where I made a pretty big mistake. In the moment, I elected to just snap call, and we ended up winning against his queen 6 offsuit. But looking back, I think this is a clear spot where we should be raising. Since he didn't raise pre-flop, I think it's clear to say he can't have queen jack here. So the only realistic hand we lose to would be queen deuce. And we can't be afraid of just one possible hand. Although a 3-bet looks really strong, I could have easily clicked it back to somewhere around 160, 170, and he would have at least considered that. And now the very next hand, something weird happens on the winner straddle where I get a pretty good hand. We look down at queen jack of diamonds. The same player from the previous hand makes it 20 to go. It folds to me and I look to make the call here. We go heads up to a flop that's king, queen, jack, all hearts, but gives us 2 pair. On this flop, he ends up putting out a pot-sized bet of $40. It's a pretty big bet, but I don't think we can go anywhere, so I like to make the call, but I think you could also consider raising here. Now, the turn comes another heart, putting 4 hearts out there, and this time he elects to check it. A little confused on what he could have, so I like to check it back. And we see a river that now comes at 10. So not only is there a one-liner to a flush, there's also a one-liner to a straight. On the river, he checks it again, and I'm not really sure if I should check or bet here, but in the moment, I elected to check. And unfortunately, we ended up losing this one as he had ace-jack without a heart, but ended up rivering a straight. And this one was a little frustrating because we had multiple opportunities to win this hand, but just played it a little too passive. So, next hand of note, we get aces again. There's the winner straddle on and a couple calls. When it gets to me, I bump it up to 30. It folds back to the player to my right, who elects to go all in. Unfortunately, it's only for about $80, but obviously we make the call. So heads up all in, and again, we flop a set with aces. Comes out all diamonds, but thankfully the turn and river do not bring a 4th diamond. We show our hand and we're good. A couple hands later, I'm in the $2 blind and pick up ace king of diamonds. Couple limps to me and I bump it up to 20, and we only get a call from the button. So we go heads up to a board that comes 10 high. And looking back, this is a good board for me to just slow down and check on. It doesn't really hit my range being the pre-flop raiser, but in the moment, I elected to bet 20 and keep the aggression going, and the button elects to make the call. The turn comes a deuce, no help to me, but now puts 2 flush draws on the board. I slow down and check, and now the button decides to bet $55. And now you can see where I'm kind of regretting that flop bet. I'm kind of in a weird spot now. I could have the best hand, but it's hard to really know. He could have a draw. But in the moment, I like to just fold, but looking back, I really wish I decided to check on the flop. Alright, last hand of note, and it's a fun one. We have a $10 bomb pot here. So basically how it works is everyone puts in $10 and there's no pre-flop action, you go straight to a flop. We pick up queen deuce offsuit, and the flop's kind of good for us. It comes out 2 aces and a queen. A couple checks to me, and I elected to bet $15 here. Looking back, this is a very tiny bet. I think I need to either go bigger or not bet at all. But out of all 7 of us, we only get 1 call. The turn comes a 9, which shouldn't change anything. The other player checks, and I like to check it back. Now the river comes another ace, giving us a full house now. It's now pretty unlikely he has an ace, so when he checks it to me, I like to bet $30, and unfortunately, he lets it go. So although we didn't get a lot of post-flop action, we still won a little money because it was a bomb pot. So I played a couple more hands, then decided to rack up and hit the cage.
So we were in for 500, out for 807 for a profit of 307. Honestly, played pretty average, but when you're getting so many good cards, it's hard not to book a win. And as mentioned, I'm sorry for the delay on making this video. Long story short, I just kind of lost that spark with poker. And it might not seem like it, but making a poker vlog does take a lot of work. And if you're not in love with it, it's really easy to procrastinate. I'm not sure what the future holds for my channel, but I just wanted to say I really appreciate all the support over the years. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.